Good morning, faculty, staff, administration, families, and of course, the class of 2029. Welcome to this year's middle school closing ceremony. This morning, we will watch this wonderful 8th grade class receive their completion certificates and officially become 9th graders, where they will start a new chapter in their educational careers. We are a class filled with leaders, scholars, artists, athletes, actors, and most importantly, friends. We have spent 3 incredible years overcoming challenges while having tons of fun, like holding trials at the Ohio Supreme Court during the We the People project and trying to juggle a job and an egg baby during the business fair. But moving up to high school seems like an egregiously hard challenge. We will have new students to meet, difficult classes to study for, and most importantly, the rules and expectations that come with being an upper schooler. It will sometimes seem as though we are a paper airplane trying to fly through a hurricane. Although many of these expectations may seem a bit terrifying, I believe that our class will overcome them with ease and triumph over any problems that we encounter. After all that we've been through, we are as prepared as possible because this paper airplane will always fly high even when things get tough, because our class always works hard and we always stick together. Thank you so much for coming to this year's closing ceremony, and I hope you enjoy watching us take off as we start our high school careers. Now, please welcome our head of school, Melissa Soderberg.
You know, like all good ceremonies, this middle school closing has several components. The 8th graders have dressed up so that they can be recognized. We're going to hear speeches from peers about wonderful moments in the class. And you have the middle school faculty here to admire you and think about all the things that they've experienced with you and to wish you well. So what am I supposed to do here? Well, I thought I might give you some parting advice, a little advice for your future in high school. And there are actually 2 mottos I want to talk about from the Stoics, which are ancient Greek philosophers, and I apologize to the 5th grade families who also heard me talk about philosophers. There are a few students who have 5th grade siblings who just were in here a few hours ago. I went on a river rafting trip last summer, and while I've spent much of my life in all kinds of boats, even a tall ship, I have never been in a kayak on a river. And it was an incredibly important experience for me because what I learned is that rapids are just in front of you and there isn't any way to go around them. You just have to go through them. I happened to have a colleague who was in a kayak with me, and he was reading a book called The Obstacle is the Way. It could not have been more appropriate for running a rapid. When you get into high school, you may face challenges that feel frustrating or even scary. Harder classes, new social situations, maybe even a little more pressure as college comes your direction. I suggest you approach high school the way a good kayaker might approach a rapid in a river. The obstacle is the way. This means that the tough stuff that you go through isn't actually blocking your path. It is the path. You go through it. Every challenge is actually helping you grow stronger, smarter, and more confident. You struggle with math. That struggle is teaching you patience and problem solving. Nervous about new friends. That fear is pushing you to be brave and step out of your comfort zone. Feeling overwhelmed, learning to manage stress now will help you really for the rest of your life. Upper school will have lots of good things, but it will also have its ups and downs. Instead of avoiding obstacles, the most important thing you can do is to face them. They are not stopping your progress. They are shaping how you're going to succeed. The other piece that I learned on the river, and it was the Salmon River in Idaho. I understand a lot of people go river rafting, particularly in Columbus, so if you've been on that river, it's fantastic wilderness. The other piece I learned was that it's not just that you go through the rapid, but it's how you face it mentally. When I was heading into a really hard rapid, I had essentially 2 choices in my head. One was, am I going to be timid and try to follow the places that didn't have a lot of rocks causing problems? Or was I going to be cavalier and see how much fun I could have riding through it? I have to say that both of those approaches ended up getting me really wet and often out of the boat. The best way I discovered over the many rapids that we went through was that while the water was whizzing around me and the noise got deafening, and the other kayaks I could see out of the corner of my eye tossing and turning and some flipping upside down, the most important thing for me to do was have a clear head and pay attention to everything around me so that I could react, but not approach it either with a lot of hubris or with timidity. The other book, believe it or not, that this colleague was reading was called The Ego is the Enemy. Your ego is that voice in your head that says, I already know this. I'm already better than them. I don't need to do this. Or if I mess up, people are going to think I'm weak, which I would say is the timid way. Or even worse, I have to be perfect. That's how I have to approach high school. The truth is that all of those mindsets hold you back, or get you wet in my case, particularly when you are in a new place. When you let go of your ego and become a better learner, you ask questions, admit mistakes, and grow faster. Ego tries to protect your pride, but it can stop you from improving. Real strength comes from being humble and open and willing to grow, even when it's hard to do those things. Upper school will be a very quick 4 years, and it's some of the most internal growth you'll ever do. You're going from 8th grade to getting ready to leave your home and live alone after 4 years. It will be a wonderful time, and we are all here to celebrate you. Congratulations, and I look forward to seeing you in the upper school hallways.
Good morning, everyone. When I first walked into middle school, I was nervous. Nervous about where to sit at lunch, nervous about getting lost on the way to class, and especially nervous about being around so many older kids who already seemed to know what they were doing. Now, 3 years later, I realized something important. No one had it all figured out. We were all just trying to survive middle school, from pop quizzes to new experiences and all the challenges along the way. Middle school wasn't easy. There were times I felt overwhelmed, times I doubted myself, and times I wondered if I was the only one feeling this way. But what got me through those moments wasn't being the smartest, the fastest, or the most outgoing. It was learning how to keep showing up, to try again even when I didn't feel like it, to be kind even when my day wasn't going that great, and to laugh, even if it was just at something small that made the day a little better. Sometimes, those little things were big memories in disguise, like building boats out of poo noodles and duct tape and sailing them or sinking them during the naval battle, or roasting marshmallows and getting muddy at Houston Woods. And who could forget exploring the monuments and museums of Washington, D.C. this past year? Whether it was standing at the Lincoln Memorial, taking way too many photos, or walking through history with our friends by our side, those moments were more than just fun. They were where friendships grew and where we started to figure out who we are. I didn't join every club or do every activity, but I learned to listen. I learned how to be a better friend, and I learned that being a leader doesn't always mean being the loudest voice in the room. Sometimes, it just means being the person who holds the door open, who notices when someone's sitting alone, or who reminds others that they belong. As I look back, I realized that what made these 3 years so meaningful wasn't perfection or having it all figured out. It was the little things that shaped who we've become and who we're still becoming. So to the 6th and 7th graders, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you. Be curious and be kind. Ask questions, even if you think they're dumb, because they're not. Speak up, even if your voice shakes. And don't be afraid to grow, even if it feels uncomfortable. To my teachers and family, thank you. Thank you for seeing something in me, even when I couldn't see it in myself. For the patience, the encouragement, and yes, even the homework. You helped shape who I am today. To my fellow 8th graders, we did it. We survived awkward dances, confusing math lessons, and the chaos of group projects. But more than that, we've grown to people who are ready for what's next. The upper school is waiting, and we're bringing everything we've learned with us. Middle school was messy. It was loud, it was weird, and it was full of moments I'll never forget. But most of all, it was ours, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. Congratulations, class of 2029. I can't wait to see what we accomplish together during these next 4 years. Thank you.
Each spring, the eighth graders write reflections to express their experience in middle school. This year, 3 students have been chosen to speak about their reflections.
Well, the day has come. 8th grade is over, and I'm proud because the way some teachers were explaining this grade, I thought I'd never make it out. I'm so thankful that we get this opportunity to move on and grow up. But I'm also thankful for what these past 3 years have taught me. The constant movement of the school might make you forget something, to remember your experiences. But what you remember? Well, maybe to start off, big binders equal big muscles. I remember in 6th grade carrying around that big binder, I thought my arms were about to fall off. Walking the hallways, rushing to get to class was like running the 100-meter dash with 50 pounds in one arm and then a pencil in the other, which you were bound to lose. But that was just one thing I remember in my time during middle school. And looking back on it, I wouldn't change anything except for those pencils, because what do you mean it was in my locker, then now it's on the floor and it's in somebody's hand? They had legs, I promise you. What I learned and remember is that different grades equal different challenges. In 6th grade, my hardest challenge was keeping my egg alive. And let me tell you, I'm not having kids anytime soon. I also built my boat for the naval battle. The amount of time and hard work spent building that boat just for it to fall apart the minute a droplet of water got on it, my boat was just mattress in 1 to 2 minutes. It was heartbreaking. Now, rising 7th graders, the hardest challenge you'll face is, the hardest challenge you'll face is handling the step up from 6th grade and not getting tea from Mr. Henry in every class. The workload seems heavier than what you're used to, but I'm sure you guys can pull through. I mean, I barely didn't. Look at me now. But if you do sports on top of that, I'm telling you, you're getting good sleep by bedtime. Now, 7th graders going into 8th grade. It was another step up, matter of fact, 2. The homework had me questioning if I even wanted to finish the 8th grade. But what really helped me was the teachers. If you have the opportunity to go to the teachers and flex, please do. The amount of work that you could get done is definitely better than sitting down with tears in your eyes because math didn't go so well with mom. The teachers really do help. You could go to them with a list of questions and they would be answered by the end of flex. And all teachers in middle school were very helpful in caring towards us, because I know as middle schoolers can do a little too much, but they make it work. While reflecting on my time in middle school, looking back, I was looking back on some of my memories with my class. Some have been good, some have been bad, but we endured together. I remember my first sleepaway camp, Camp Kern. Now, the 7th graders and 6th graders don't know anything about Camp Kern, and be glad. The full experience was something. I mean, the cabins were definitely something. The things that I saw in that shower will never be talked about again. The activities that we did with our advisories were exciting. I remember being with my advisory for most of the trip. And when I say most, I mean the only time we were not together was potty and bedtime. But I enjoyed it. I got closer with my advisory, and I appreciated them and what they brought to the table, especially during the scavenger hunt because I was not about to lose. In 7th grade, it was Houston Woods. Again, 6th and 7th graders don't know anything about Houston Woods. Now, at Houston Woods, we were given a lot more free time, and we were free to roam and explore. I was begging for some planned activities. That's how much free time we got. I vividly remember playing with this bouncy ball that was as big as me. I was in the big room where we went into every day. And let's just say, please don't bounce a ball with glass lamps and the ceilings are taller than 7 feet. Trust me, I know. And lastly, DC. This is one of the most fun experiences you'll ever get to experience. We were learning and having fun at the same time. This is what teachers say their classes are like. And this may be biased, but bus 2 with tour guide Carl was the best bus. In DC, we were given options and we were given structure, unlike Houston Woods. And we also got a little dance. But what was really memorable was the time with your friends. I don't think I've ever laughed harder than when I was on that trip. But even without the trips, middle school was very memorable. The small moments are what you remember the most. The times where in class where you ask Mr. Scout in one question and that ends up being the whole class, that was the class. Or Miss Iser saying this is her favorite class and then 2 minutes later, this is the worst class she's ever had. Things like this will help you remember that middle school was an experience. It was different for each of us, and there were plenty of good and enjoyable moments. So as we move on to high school, I want you to remember the moments that made you laugh. Remember the moments that made you question if school was really for you, then remember your parents probably won't let that happen. So persevere, because that's what middle school is about. No, but really, take these moments in because they go by in a flash. Congratulations, class of 2029. Let's make these next 4 years great years.
We will now present the certificates of completion to the class of 2029. Grayson Alexander. Tage Andrews. Lilybeth Mami Nyako Asari. Jonah M. Berg. Simran Bala. Sanika Bave. Henry Simpson Block. Elliot Bohutinsky. Camille Argia Bowman. Jackson Alfred Lee Bright. Sarah Bundy. Shand Bundy. Henry Scott Kolodny. Weiston Edward Can. Alexander George Shaheen. Price Chapman. Miriam Christian. Gabrielle Coates. Ryan Coates. Adelie LePage Cordray. Evan Robert Crane. In absentia, Abby Crowell. Lillian Devizan. Sophia Elizabeth Donev. Ian Epstein. Bradley Esposito. Landon Gray Fisher. Alexandria Forcioni. Max Froelich. Isabel Ann Fusoni. Daniel Gao. Gabby Gilson. Gavin Christian Haberman. Audra Donna Hall. Anna Harpster. Quinn Harris. Asa Jacob Henry. Scotland Hensley. Adela Hong. Haley Lingfei Zhaofang Yan. Teddy Hughes. Bennett Hunter. Samuel Izakaitis. Sydney Jackson. Jackson Dylan Janis. Ria Kapoor. Nathan Katz. Colby Kaufman. Claire Kerrigan. Madeline King. Kevin Edward Klingerman. Grayson P. Costas. Haley Crum. Pamya Linder. Ella Lovera. Poppy Lee Lux. William Mahaffey. Jalen Martin. Catherine Penn Massey. Ashi Mather. Connor Migo. Ava Marie Melankowski. Sabrina Bell Melankowski. Colin Casto Mokas. Mihika Mukherjee. Lila Negi. Emily Ann Neviser. Zahir Nimji. Chizuroke Woke. Quentin Okwasha Nzimero. Ty Paget. Ethan Robert Parrish. Amari Christopher Phillips. Julian Stephen Pizzotti. Aditya Raval. Bracken Reeves. Finn Reinig. Jed Reinig. Emerson Songhuan Ri. Jaden James Ross. Arjun Satyapriya. Mila Ray Shaw. Drew Skasko. Olivia Francis Skestos. Sydney Smoot. Lyndon Allen Spalding. Jalea Renai Thompson. Eric Rosine Toop. Patrick Rosine Toop. Catherine Turner. Katie Wong. Ryan Wong. Desmond Morgan Wolford. Isabella Wood. Congratulations to the class of 2029.
Some highlights worth noting about this class. At Zip Zone, they supported each other and pushed themselves to face fears. In DC, they laid the wreath at Arlington National Cemetery, honored the fallen at memorials, and danced the night away at their dinner dance. They left a lasting mark on the middle school with the geometry mural in the 8th grade hallway. They planned a full assembly and a style meeting, planned Spirit Week, played with explorers, helped the environment, led Service Day, and planned the CA dance in their leadership groups. They stopped to talk to the lower school kids on their way to recess. They did little things to include younger kids at recess. They embraced being kids when the 8th grade teachers surprised them with 8th grade fun day, played at the park, and did a mini talent show. They presented amazing scientific findings at the Exit Project Expo and presented research supporting their claims during the social studies capstone at the Ohio Supreme Court. They organized rec basketball and found ways to leave a lasting impression on the middle school. They are funny, kind, silly, curious, creative, and unique. These kids, your children, are fun. They are leaders, and they have left this middle school in a better place than they found it. And I remember teaching all of them when they were in 6th grade in Writer's Workshop, and I'm just amazed at how much they've grown and matured. The reflections you heard and the reflections each 8th grader wrote speak to 3 key components of our school. First, they reflected on the experience with their teachers. Teachers who are required to think about and demonstrate in their practice the ability to help children succeed and the capacity to build caring relationships. Even when children may not agree with the process or see the end result, our faculty's work during this stage of your children's education is evident in the sentiment they express toward their teachers. I am and we are thankful for their teachers. Secondly, and most importantly, the work of you, their parents, guardians, families, that's evident. You participate and engage in a particular type of partnership with the school to steward your child's growth. As you all know, it is challenging to parent and raise children. You have done it well. We respect you, and we respect the work and time you invest in your children, and we thank you for sharing them with us. We are thankful for you, their families. And third, this group of children. We gain insight into their experience in the world and in school through the most important set of eyes there are, theirs. Their view enlightens us to show us just how capable and introspective they are. We are reminded why, as teachers, we are motivated and energized to do right by them. They are able to make the world better. We are thankful for these kids.